Jarrell Miller has been pretty consistent over the past year or so when it comes to calling out Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. He put this tweet out yesterday, and you can see what it says here. I'm hungry. They both food, meaning they're both there to be devoured. No homo. So he don't seem to respect either of them as fighters. He seems to think that he would walk both of them down and beat both of them in dominant fashion, the same way that he's beaten many of his opponents recently, like Johan Duopa, like Marius Wack, like Gerald Washington, so on and so forth. He's said on numerous occasions that he would do a similar thing to Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Well, he has to try and get himself to fight. He's talking a lot of smack. Some people are saying that this is contrived and it is Eddie Hearn who's put him up to this. I don't think so, because he was doing this before Eddie Hearn was in the picture for Jarrell Miller. He was doing this before he was fighting on Hearn cards. He was doing this before he had a deal with DAZN. So I just think it's Miller being Miller. As far as the trash talk and how far he's going with it, he obviously has mentioned Anthony Joshua's mom several times, and Joshua was taken aback by that. He was angered by that, visibly angry. You know, I'm not here to defend Jarrell Miller calling out a man's mom at all, but this is fighting. This is boxing. You know, this ain't chess or checkers or tennis or whatever it is. You know, this is a combat sport, a sport where you're looking to do physical damage to your opponent. So words need to be put aside in your own mind. You can't allow the words of the next man to affect you, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be trading words. It's going to be something far more damaging than words. You're going to be trading blows. So, yeah, Jarrell Miller, I think he has to continue the trash talk. I'm not talking about the mom stuff, but I'm just saying he has to continue the trash talk until he gets one of those guys in the ring. It's interesting that he is so dismissive of Deontay Wilder when Deontay Wilder sent Jarrell Miller to the hospital, right? Jarrell Miller says it was because he was dehydrated. Deontay Wilder says it's because Jarrell Miller had a concussion from being hit upside the head with the Alabama Slammer. Pause. So let me know what you guys think of Big Baby Miller. He has basically injected himself into the Joshua Wilder situation. And I'll be interested to hear what Deontay Wilder has to say. Deontay Wilder has addressed Big Baby Miller before. A couple of months back, they were going at it online and saying this, that, and the other about each other. But Big Baby is relentless. He's coming for Deontay again. Right now, he's focused more on Joshua. Before, he was focused more on Wilder. I guess he feels like there's more of a chance right now that he could get the Joshua fight, and that's why he's focusing on Joshua. But I'm sure Wilder won't be too far removed from his immediate mind, you know, in the near future. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what Wilder has to say, and if Wilder would entertain a fight against Big Baby Miller, because Joshua right now, he says he ain't entertaining the fight because he's got bigger fish to fry. He's trying to fight. Well, he is fighting Povetkin. Then he's looking to fight Wilder in April. And God knows what other mandatories might come up. So he don't have Big Baby Miller on his radar. And actually, some people are saying that Joshua should freeze Big Baby Miller out and not give him a shot because of how disrespectful Big Baby Miller's been. Some people do have that point of view, and maybe Joshua will do that. Maybe he'll say, you know what, I would have fought you, but the fact you're being so disrespectful, nah, you ain't getting no payday from me. And I have to address one thing as well. Some people saying that Joshua looked out of his comfort zone at the press conference in America for the launch of DAZN. Well, Big Baby Miller didn't even go to Bulgaria. You know, talk about someone not being in their comfort zone. Big Baby didn't even go to Bulgaria. He didn't even consider going to Bulgaria. Sometimes you got to practice what you preach. Sometimes you can't be a hypocrite, you know. Big Baby Miller has been critical of Joshua before for not fighting outside the UK. Was Big Baby Miller willing to fight in Bulgaria? No. And I don't even blame him for it. I'm not one of these people who starts getting on the case of certain fighters for not fighting outside their comfort zone unless they're making out as though they're, you know, the greatest fighter of all time or something like that. Then you have to compare like for like and say, okay, let's look at what the greatest fighters of all time actually did. But generally, if a fighter feels comfortable fighting at home, then let him fight at home. Sometimes he might have to travel for an opportunity. But does Jarrell Miller really need the Pulev fight right now? Maybe he does. Maybe he does, because if Wilder's not going to fight him voluntarily and Joshua's not going to fight him voluntarily, he's just thrown away the opportunity to force a fight with Joshua. And it was an IBF eliminator. The IBF, everybody should know right now, or everybody should know by now, sorry, that the IBF are the strictest when it comes to enforcing mandatories. So if he'd beaten Kubrat Pulev and become mandatory, the shot against Joshua would have had a high likelihood of happening in 2019 because of how strict the IBF tend to be with their mandatories. So that's an opportunity passed by there for Big Baby Miller, and he should really be questioned by the press as to why he turned that fight down. And you know, if he's really about that life, you know, practice what you preach. But again, I understand why he did it. He probably feels like he won't get a fair shake in Bulgaria, and he don't see the fight as being so easy that it doesn't matter where it's going to be. And anyway, getting back to what I was saying about Wilder, it don't look like Joshua's going to fight Miller, perhaps because of the trash talk. Will Wilder fight him, particularly if Wilder doesn't get the Joshua fight or doesn't take the Joshua fight, because the fight is there for Wilder. If you don't take the Joshua fight in April, will he take the Miller fight instead? Is that something he'd entertain? Somehow, I have my doubts, because Wilder's team, whenever it comes to defenses against regular contenders, they don't seem keen on fighting anybody who's not in-house. You think of the guys they've had Wilder fight, who were not mandatories. Artis Spilka, Al Haymon fighter. Gerald Washington, Al Haymon fighter. Who else is there now? Spilka, Gerald Washington. I'm forgetting who Deontay Wilder's fought. They're trying to set up a Brazil fight. That's another Al Haymon fighter. Luis Ortiz, of course, Al Haymon fighter. Now, there was a couple of others in there, like Eric Molina was obviously a Don King fighter, and so was Berman Stavern, but Stavern was a champion one time and the mandatory the other. And Eric Molina, that was his first defense, and nobody really expected much from Molina. And Haymon and Don King do know each other quite well, and apparently are friends, so that's that. But for the most part, they're trying to keep Wilder fighting in-house fights. Yeah, apart from a unification with Joshua. And do they really want that? Are they going to take the offer to fight Joshua in April at Wembley? Hopefully they will. But if they don't, will they entertain Miller? Going on their past track record, I doubt it. So Miller could get frozen out. They're looking to have Miller fight Artis Spilka, actually, one of Deontay Wilder's victims, and then have him fight the winner of Manuel Charr versus Fraser Kendo for the WBA regular belt. So anyway, let me know how you feel about everything I've talked about and mentioned in this video. It's Hatman, I'm out.